parents were sour at me for making my brother pay me back for damaging my car. Now my father is in jail. This is an update to my previous post. And this all went down yesterday. My brother promised he'd pay me back for the damage to my car. And he kept that promise. The body shop guy cut me a deal at a fair price for replacing the damaged front end parts on my Crown Vic. He just asked if I cared whether or not they were OEM. I told him I didn't care if they were OEM, as the car is far from new, and I didn't need the bill to get too high. I'd thought that the damage was only cosmetic, but there was some minor damage the body shop will need to pull out. But it's not frame damage, and is an easy job to straighten out, they told me. There was some minor damage to the fender panels, but they said they're easy to fix, especially since I don't care that they aren't perfect, and the new parts will be painted in a matching color. So that's good. My brother willingly paid cash in advance to the body shop after getting the quote from them. He seemed all too eager to hand the money over and politely bid me goodbye. I won't say how much it was, but it definitely hurt his savings, especially after the fine he had to pay for driving without a license. He was wanting to get a replacement car, but he won't have one till his license suspension is over anyway, and I don't know when that will be. But I think it's gonna be a good while. Anyway, my parents had given my brother a ride to the body shop, and as soon as he was out the door, they stayed and admonished me for making him spend all his money fixing my car. I imagine they were about to say something about how I should have just lent my car to him to begin with, and how all of this would have been prevented if I had. But something in me snapped, and I cut them off. And that's when it spilled out. I called them out on everything that came to mind. All of the favoritism, how they act like my brother has always been more important, how I had to move in with my uncle just to escape their unfair treatment, how they let my brother steal my car and then tried to lie to me until I threatened police, how they themselves tried to lie to police by saying I was the one driving when my brother crashed my Crown Vic, and so much more. And I ended it all with saying how stupid it was, that they were mad at me for making my brother pay the damage that he caused by stealing my car on Christmas freaking Day and driving it without a license and while intoxicated. By the time I finally stopped, I was nearly out of breath. My mother was crying and my father was red in the face, looking like he was about to explode. Then he just took my mother by the hand and started to walk out. Then some guy I don't know that was sitting near the door blurted out, "You guys are narcissists." Well, that was enough to set my father over the edge, and he started attacking the guy. My father is not a small man, and he knows how to throw a punch. So he started beating the crap out of the poor guy like a mad gorilla. I yelled for the clerk to call the cops, and they did. My father heard that and bolted out the door and drove off. He actually left my mother behind crying in the lobby. Police had to pick him up at home, and he surprisingly cooperated when he was arrested. But he's looking at charges for assault. The guy he beat up suffered a very swollen black eye and a possible broken nose and concussion. I was there when they were loading him into the ambulance to get him to the hospital. My mother has called me crying and is blaming herself. My uncle is saying, "It was about time my dad tasted some karma, and my brother is doing everything he can to stay out of it. This is not how I thought this was all going to go down."